Welcome to the HR Fix, the HR podcast for HR professionals who want to grow and be the best. I'm Judith Fiddler and I'll be your host. So come and join us on our journey as we change an entire industry. Come on, let's get started. Hi there and welcome to our podcast, the HR Fix. Now, the reason it's called the HR Fix is because quite literally we believe that HR is broken. But by doing certain things, easy things that can put in place, we can make all the difference. So instead of the industry being broken and certainly needing to change, then actually we can start to remove risk and we can start to increase value. We can start to be respected. We can start to bring trust to our employers and also to our employees. We believe that the problems have come from our training, have come from us taking shortcuts, see following the policy, and from following processes that don't make any sense. But no one has told us that we can do things differently. And that is until now. And that's why we're changing the world of HR. And we'd love you to join us along this journey. We're going to be bringing you different case studies, different challenges, different information, and different concepts that we know are easy to put in place that will actually change the way that you are doing HR and mean that you can be respected, you can be trusted, you can be all of these things that we know there's problems inside of HR. Now, you might not quite believe yet that HR is broken, but I think we can all agree that it needs to change. It needs to change for the better. You think about, I used to go around saying, I've been doing this for 25 years now, and I can tell you that I've seen it all, I've heard it all, there's nothing much that shocks me. And then you just think about the things that have been happening this year, the cases that I've been dealing with just in the last 4 months are to do with terrorism and rioting and all the sort of picketing. I've never dealt with the picketing case apart from this year. So all of these things are changing. Think about 6 months before that or a year before that when we're dealing with quiet quitting and the Great Resignation. And then a year before that, we were dealing with home working. We'd never had to deal with home working in the way that we had done before inside of HR. Every single year, things are changing and that we need to be adapting and having policies and thinking about concepts and how we're applying principles in different ways, how we can be fair, how we can be individual, how we can recognize protected characteristics, new protected characteristics that keep coming up all the time. And yet we're not being taught and trained these things. They're happening to us all the time, which means we need to be developing these principles. We need to be understanding our own concepts that's going to literally lift our game. We want to lift the ceiling inside of HR. We want to make a difference and take it to the next level. Now, a few weeks ago, my husband and I were traveling around America and we were on one particular internal flight. And as they do on these flights, the air stewardess comes on the tannoy about half an hour before you're landing. And she turned around and she said onto the tannoy, "Ladies and gentlemen, we're now going to start to begin our descent. So the pilot has put on his fasten seatbelt signs. Can you please put your seats in the upright position? Can you please stow away your tray tables? Please put away any laptops or electronic goods. Please sit in the overhead lockers. You be careful when you open the lockers, the things that I've stowed away." You can tell that we've been traveling a lot. And in the middle of her talk, she then said, as we begin our descent into, and then you heard her on the tannoy and she said, "Excuse me," to this guy, really, she whispered, "Excuse me, where are we going?" And the guy goes, you could hear him on the tannoy. He goes, "New York." And she goes, yeah, okay, thanks. But what airport?" And he goes, "LaGuardia." And she goes, "Oh, okay. As we begin our descent into New York, LaGuardia Airport, we'll be landing in about 27 minutes or something." And then she sort of realized what she'd said and how weird it sounded in front of hundreds of people on this flight. And she turned around and she said, "I'm really sorry. That was really unprofessional. It's an occupational hazard." And she said, "I'm too busy often, especially on this flight, I've been too busy to look up and see where I'm going." And then she starts talking about the things and you start thinking, wow, how can somebody be too busy to look up and know where they're going? And then just say that's an occupational hazard, that she doesn't know where she is or where she's going, literally. And it started me thinking about the HR people that I was dealing with that day and the emails that I was answering. And I was absolutely astounded to see that the questions that I was answering, they didn't know where they were going. They were so stuck inside of a process or a policy or whatever it was, some sort of HR concept or some sort of disciplinary grievance, whatever it was. They were so stuck in that. They were so ingrained in that. They couldn't see where they were supposed to be going. And they were so busy. And that was an occupational hazard. And it just occurred to me that actually this is a problem inside of HR, that we are so busy, we're not looking up. We're not being present. And that's one of the really cool phrases that's around right now. As I say, I've been doing a lot of traveling just recently and reading a lot of magazines and celebrity rubbish and this, that, and the other, and listening to things, on airplanes. And you hear a lot of celebrities saying, "Oh, and my goal in life is just to have more presenteeism." or I'm sitting at the breakfast table with my kids and we're not allowed phones, they're banned so that we can all be present. It's all about presenteeism. And that is now the goal of most people's lives, to enjoy the moment. In my wedding, I want to enjoy every single minute of it. In my dating life, I want to, date night with my husband. I want to enjoy every single minute of it. And that started getting me thinking, okay, so we're too busy. We're not the air stewardess in the air, too busy to look up. We don't know where we're going. So maybe that's the answer. Maybe it's presenteeism. That's what we need to be, enjoying the moment, understanding what's going on, listening really, really hard. And I thought about that for a while, and that stuck with me. And then I realized, no, that's really not what it is. It's not about being present inside of HR, because again, we need to have a plan. We need to have a strategy. We need to know where we are. We need to know where we're going. It's not about being present. So then that started me thinking about other things. What can we be? If it's not, we're too busy, we're sort of falling behind, don't know where we're going, but also not being present in the moment. And it started me thinking about something my husband said when we were dating a really, really, really long time ago. We were married a really, really long time. So this was when we were dating a really long time ago. And he was talking about his drive. He's American. So, motorways was something of a weird concept to him. And also roundabouts, don't even talk about roundabouts. And he's, driving on the wrong side of the road, literally. And we were on the motorway, and he, holds himself out as a very good motorway driver. And he said to me one day, we were driving along, and he said, the reason that I'm not going to even attempt to do his accent, but the reason that I'm such a good motorway driver is because I don't look at the car in front. I look at the car in front of the car in front. And I remember thinking, what? And I used to criticize him all the time. He's driving too fast and too close and da-da-da. And he's like, no, I'm a good driver. No, I'm good driver, whatever. And I remember sitting there thinking, what a knob. You're not going to crash into the car in front of the car in front. Why are you watching that one? You need to be looking at the car in front. And that just occurred to me as a concept when I was thinking about where HR professionals need to be. We're up in the sky, we're too busy, or we don't need to be present. Actually, thinking about the car in front of the car in front seems to be a more accurate description to me. We're on, say, an invite for a disciplinary meeting, but actually we need to start thinking about the things that are going to be discussed in that meeting. It's not just about the invite and getting someone into the meeting. It's being a car in front of the car in front. It's being the meeting ahead, the step ahead of that process. Even when you're doing an outcome letter, it's not even about the outcome and making sure that that's okay. It's about making sure that you're already planning for what the appeal grounds could be and making sure that they aren't going to preclude. You're also trying to stop that happening right now. And then having one eye on the fact that actually this goes to tribunal. What does that look like? And how do I change that? It's about being not even just a bit in front, not being present, not being a bit in front, but being the car in front of the car in front and thinking, two processes ahead of everyone else. And that to me is a perfect description of how we can start to add value. Stop looking down and just seeing what it is that's right, below us, right in front of us, but actually to start looking ahead, have a plan. We're not talking about prejudging anything. So not prejudging outcomes, but we're prejudging what could go wrong. And we're actually factoring that into what we're doing right now in our presenteeism, but we're actually thinking and planning. Our strategies are actually 2 steps ahead. It's just little things like this and changing the way that we start to think that we really can start to bring value to HR. We can start to remove the risk. We can start to understand our jobs better. We can get there quicker and faster. We don't need to be working crazy hours. We don't. Because when we start to bring our view of things, when we start to bring real value, then that actually doesn't take much time at all. And we know that good HR lands differently. I want you to start thinking about being 2 cars ahead. We don't want to be a knob. We don't want to crash into the one in front. We have to keep our eye on that as well, for sure. But we want to be 2 cars ahead. Have a great day. Happy HRing.